So the Remington 870 12 gauge. I'm sure many of you that are watching this are familiar with this particular gun. This one actually happens to be the first one I ever bought in my life, first gun in general. However, I haven't been shooting it lately because there's a couple things that in its present form I just didn't care for it, and I decided finally I'm going to change that. For starters, the slug barrel that came with this gun is rifled. What really drives me nuts during deer season, which is why I don't use this anymore, I use a 30-30, is buying sabeted slugs. Those suckers are like $3 a shot. That's ridiculous. I want to shoot regular 1-ounce Foster slugs through this gun, and if I ever want to, maybe buckshot for home defense. So for starters, this barrel just isn't doing it for me anymore. Another issue I've had with it is the stock, your length of pull. It's fine during the summer months, or if you only got like a flannel shirt on, but for me, this can get really long if you have a ton of layers on for deer season. So I'm hoping to change that out too. I made an order on Midway USA. I have some parts coming in, and I'm hoping to change all that and make this particular gun here more versatile. By versatile, I have a couple rules I want to first establish. Number one, it's still a hunting gun to me, number one. So 2 magazines for home defense, no, I'm not doing that. I want to be able to swap barrels out just like this. I just want to be able to go like this, unspin the nut, and swap it out. Most of you probably are familiar, if you put an extension on, you have to put a barrel clamp. Can't do that. So that loses versatility points for my philosophy of use. Number 2, the slug barrel. This is a pretty accurate barrel, but I want to be able to shoot cheap ammunition and buckshot through it. If I decide to use this as a camp gun or a home defense gun, yeah, I know it'd be better with the tube magazine, but then you lose some of the versatility. So I just want a shorter barrel for closer quarters, basically. Not that I'm saying I'm going to use this for home defense, but it'd be nice to have it sitting on the rack up north at camp. And one of the last problems I was having was the length of pull. I want some modularity on this so that I can swap either spacers or something so that I can change this. If I'm wearing different clothes, I want to be able to make it shorter. So, just so you have an introductory of what my whole philosophy is going to be behind this gun. Once the parts come in, I'm going to put them on, and I'll do a follow-up of what I think about it and if I think it was worth it. Alright, so the parts came in, and here's the first modification I did. The barrel on the bottom is I believe it's a 20-inch rifled express barrel that came on the gun. One on the top is a Remington 870. It's an 18-inch police barrel that's Parkerized. Right off the bat, you could probably tell from the coloring, the Parkerizing is a little bit darker black. I don't know what it is with this express finish, but almost every barrel I see, you can kind of see on that ring there that goes around the tube magazine, there's a slight bit of rust on it. I've looked at brand new ones in the store and I see that same thing on it. So I'm thinking the Parkerized finish is going to be a lot better off in the long run. I actually have already modified this one. I added a Williams Ghost Ring sight, which I'm telling you right now, you look through this, it's night and day. It is very nice sight picture. I don't know if I can zoom in on that, but it has green on the back, red on the front, lines up. It's very nice compared to the regular white rifle sights that you get on these 870 barrels. Simple bolt-on and installation on the rear. On the front, you just got to use a brass punch. Took me about, I don't know, 5 minutes, and I had this thing set up. I haven't sighted in yet. So this one is smooth barrel, so I can shoot pretty much anything through it. It's improved cylinder. Can shoot birdshot, buckshot, slugs. So now I can shoot regular Foster's slugs through this thing. It's not going to cost me an arm and a leg if I do have to go in a place of shotgun only hunt with it. So there's that. Now the gun itself, I changed the stock out in the forearm, and I have to say I am completely impressed with the product I chose. And a lot of you watching this probably won't be surprised when you see what I actually ended up with. So here it is. Remington 870 Express. No surprise there. Magpul furniture. Okay, so I went with a flat dark earth. Very happy with the color. I've seen a couple reviews when people were saying that the colors didn't match. Mine seems to match pretty darn good. When I first put this on, it had 0 spacers on it. For my arms, it was definitely way too short. So I added 2 spacers. This seems to be a perfect medium between being too long and too short for me. Obviously, user adjustability was what I was looking for from my previous comments, and this definitely helps with that. You can swap that out in 2 seconds. If you want to put more spacers in, you just unscrew this one screw, pull that out, add a spacer, deduct a spacer, you're good to go. I added the Type 1 quick disconnect sling mount right here. So I'm left-handed, right-handers might want it on the other side. I actually mounted on the other side at first, and come to find out it wasn't working too well, so I swapped it around. I'm very happy with it on this side for me being left-handed. The forearm, if you notice, looking back on the wood one actually covers part of your receiver. This one goes right flush with it. I'm very happy with it. It's super comfortable. I like having the M-LOK system. I have a pick rail here for a flashlight mount, which I'm going to have to update this video when it finally comes. I'm not even going to tell you what I bought, but we'll see how well it works when it comes in. Well, right now I have the bird barrel on it. The only other thing I did was this, the tube magazine. I put a quick disconnect one on the end of it. So if you have a Magpul stock, or I actually bought a cheap stock off Amazon, or excuse me, sling off Amazon that was $14, and it's basically a clone of the Magpul MS4 sling. The reviews are very mixed on it, but I'll tell you right now, it locks into this no problem, and it locks into the back end right here. Absolutely no problem with that. Matter of fact, I'll bring it out right now. So, this was off Amazon. I paid $14 for it. Okay? As long as you know that it's locked in, that is not coming out. Okay? It has the connection so you could do a 1 point on it. And on this side, same thing. As long as you snap it in, give it a tug just to make sure, but I mean, it's solid. I mean, that was $14 and it works perfectly fine. The hardware is a little bit different, but you know what? The adjustability is just as good. The webbing seems really good. The stitching seems good. And I think the olive drape really complements the flat dark earth on this. So I am very happy the way this gun came out. The versatility is great. Future improvements that I'm going to do, I might possibly buy the little part here so that you can have a 1-point sling on it. I forget what the part number is called, but it's basically a big loop. But then the sling won't work because I have to get the paraclip, I think they call it, clips to make that work. Backside, I actually bought a side saddle off Amazon for like $14 or $15, and I put it up to this, and I didn't even bother mounting it because it looked like garbage. You get what you pay for, okay? If I was to put a side saddle on this, I'm going to go with a Mesa Tactical, probably. Something that has rubber in between the receiver and the side saddle so that you're not scuffing all this up. I'm pretty sure I'm at all my goals. I have adjustable length of pull on this. I can swap this barrel out without issue very fast because this has those little indentations that some of the 870s do so the spring doesn't come flying out. And it's as simple as pulling that out, putting the new barrel on, like that, screw it in, boom, you're good to go. The length is definitely a little bit shorter the way I have it right now compared to the wood stock and even the 20-inch rifle barrel I had. I think as far as compaction, this is about as compact as I want it. I'm very happy with it. And I can't really think of any much more that I want to do to this other than add the side saddle, get it sighted in, and I think this is going to be the perfect gun for what I intended to make it into. I will update this when my flashlight mount finally comes in and if I decide to put a side saddle on it. One thing I will note with this Magpul stock, when I had the wood stock on it, when I would change barrels, a lot of times I'd just grab it and I'd pump it all the way back. Well, the way the plastic is on this forearm, it's actually, it almost rubs on the barrel at a certain point, and you're better off when you go to change barrels, just pull this back about, I don't know, somewhere around there, and when you unscrew this, it should slide right in and out. If you have it all the way back, it rubs and it doesn't line up properly. So there's one thing I noticed with the Magpul stock. I also noticed it weighs a lot more. I believe the 870 Expresses, if I had to guess, they probably have a birch stock on it. It's not black walnut, I know that. Maybe the Wingmasters have black walnut. But the plastic actually does weigh more. This is the first Magpul products I've ever bought. And I'll tell you right now, I am just astounded by the quality. This is like no other synthetic forearm that I've ever touched, or stock for that matter. The rubber butt padding is way nicer than the one that came on the gun. It's a lot squishier. It just feels, this just screams quality. So now I know what the whole rave is with the Magpul stocks and accessories, because they definitely are a premium grade, without a doubt. So there you go. That's the gun. And I will, like I said, update this when I finally get the mounts for the flashlight.